Alright, so in this video, I'm going to be talking about a handful of underrated or just overhated or underlooked rappers that I feel like either don't get attention because people only focus on, the negative aspects of them, or they only know them for one song or just one thing that they've done, and they don't really look at the complete artist that they are or how they've shaped music in general or just rap and hip hop in general. Okay, so number one is Sheck Wes. Now, when you hear the name Sheck Wes, you probably just think of Mo Bamba, right? But this dude dropped an album called Mud Boy in 2018. It was his debut studio album. As of right now, I believe it's his only major project. He probably had like mixtapes before that, but this was his debut album in 2018, and this album is really, really good. I wouldn't say it's definitely on the level of like a Kendrick Lamar or a Kanye West album, obviously, but for someone who really only had one popular commercial song and really came out of nowhere, kind of under the Travis Scott, Cactus Jack kind of record label. He had some really good songs on this album. Other than Mo Bamba, I don't really like Mo Bamba that much. I mean, it's kind of catchy, but it's not really a good song that kind of shows his true nature as an artist. WESPN is a really good song. Chippy Chippy is a good song. Never Lost is a good song. And the production on this album is handled really well. And I get that's not really Sheck West's department. He's a lyricist, he's a rapper, he's not a producer. But whoever he got to make these beats in this album, probably a handful of people, really did their job, and he put some nice lyrics on him. He got a nice flow. He's got deep lyrics. People don't really see that deep side of him. Like WESPN is a pretty deep song, and that's one that a lot of people can resonate to, and that's really one that really caught my attention. And that's what I really see about Sheck West is that he's unique. He doesn't really try to fit in to what everyone else is doing because he really came out of nowhere. Nobody knew who he was, and then Travis Scott saw something in him, and he kind of signed with his record label. So if you only know Sheck West from Mo Bamba and maybe one or two other songs, I would give that album Mud Boy a listen, and stay tuned for what he does in the future. Okay, so number two is going to be Machine Gun Kelly. Now, people give a lot of hate on Machine Gun Kelly because they say, oh, he's just like a attention seeker because of the diss he did to Eminem and the beef with that, or he's just some wannabe like pop punk artist. But Machine Gun Kelly is a respectable guy because he doesn't try to fit in with what everyone else does. If you look at his songs, the only really major song he had with any major rap artists was a song called Trap Paris, which was from 2017, 2018, somewhere in that year range. And that was with Quavo, and I believe I don't know who else. I know Quavo was in that song. Some other major artist. That was a decent song, but doesn't really show what he does. He is a really versatile artist. Like if you listen to his albums, it kind of alternates. Like one song is like more rap and like hard delivery. Another song is more of a lighthearted kind of like guitar-based rock song, or more of like a pop punk song. But I think people focus really on Machine Gun Kelly's like outside of music persona rather than his actual music itself. Like I get he's done some questionable things, right? But he's an artist, and he's really unique, really versatile. There's not a lot of people doing what he's doing, and I really respect him for that. And he gets my attention, he gets my respect. Okay, so number three is Cardi B. Now, similar to Sheck West, you probably know Cardi B a bit more than him, just because she's had more commercial songs. Like obviously, Bodak Yellow was her breakout hit, but there's also songs like that. I Like It with J Balvin dude, or the Hispanic guy. And then there's like other songs that she's either been featured in or she's made herself. But the fact is, Cardi B, like she has a really unique delivery and flow. And there's a lot of like Nicki Minaj fans that don't like Cardi B at all. I don't know if they ever had a beef. I'm not too informed on that. But I guess they just kind of see her as like the main rival to Nicki Minaj. But, Cardi B is a really good artist. And I don't listen to Cardi B regularly, if I'm being honest. But that album that she dropped, that was like Invasion of Privacy. That was a really good album. There were some good songs on that, and her lyrics were not like the typical lyrics that you expect. Obviously, she talks probably about like sex way too much in her music, but there's also like deep lyrics that kind of highlight her struggle, like getting to where she is now, and where she started like low in life and how she worked her way up. Because there's not really a lot of female rappers that are in the mainstream. There's her and there's Nicki Minaj, and maybe like No Name and like SZA and Doja Cat. I don't even know if that's really rap, the last few, but she's doing good things, and she's really respectable for who she is as an artist. So number 4 is Trippie Redd. Now, one thing about me and Trippie Redd is back in like 2016, 2017, my musical taste was a lot different than how it is right now. I used to bump Trippie Redd a lot. There was this thing on Spotify that was like original listeners or something like that. I forgot the name of it. I don't know if they still have it. They might have it right now. You can look that up. But I was like the original like 2% of listeners for Trippie Redd. And I don't really bump Trippie Redd a lot. I can't tell you much about his albums or about his mixtapes or whatever. But, one thing that really caught my attention was he has a unique voice. Like, when you hear his voice, like, it doesn't sound like anyone else. His flow doesn't really sound like anyone else. He's doing things that don't really match what everyone else is doing. And, XXXTentacion, he worked with him on that song, like F Love. That's a pretty good song. But he's got some other really good songs, like, I can't think of them off the top of my head, but I would really check out Trippie Redd if you just think of him as like a mumble rapper, like a non-lyrical kind of rapper, because he's not. He has a unique flow, delivery, just a really talented artist. And I'm not putting him on the level of some of the major artists like I said before, like Kendrick Lamar, Kanye West, but he's really good for what he does. He doesn't try to overachieve. That's kind of like Playboi Carti. A lot of people hate on Playboi Carti, and I'm not putting him on this list because he has a huge fan base, even though a lot of people hate on him. But the thing about Trippie Redd, Playboi Carti, those kind of artists, they're not trying to be lyrical poets. They're not trying to be a Kendrick Lamar. They're not trying to be, a Freddie Gibbs. They're doing things that they know will bring fans and income. They're trying to make music that you can just sit back to and just like chill and vibe and have fun. And that's not really what a Kendrick Lamar or Kanye West make music to do. And of course, they want to make music that sells money, but that's more of music that has a deeper symbolic meaning. Playboi Carti, Trippie Redd, they're not making that kind of music. And I think you got to take it for what they're trying to do rather than comparing them to other artists that they aren't even, synced up to, that they're not even trying to make the same kind of music as them. So Trippie Redd, really good artist. All right, so number 5 is going to be Danny Brown. Now, that's probably a name that's been around in the music realm for a while, but he's never really got that respect as like a top 5, top 10 artist. But the truth is, like, this guy is a super unique musician. He had this album called Atrocity Exhibition. It's pretty old, but and that's funny because he also has another album called Old, which is my personal favorite Danny Brown album. But moving on, and the Atrocity Exhibition is a fantastic album, by the way. So is Old, but people get turned off by Danny Brown pretty easily because he talks in like a super not talks. He raps in like a super weird, like high-pitched voice. That's not his normal voice. If you ever heard a Danny Brown song, for example, I got it on my phone here. There's a song called The Return featuring Freddie Gibbs by Danny Brown, and that's one of the only songs I've actually heard by Danny Brown where he actually speaks or raps in his normal, regular voice. But when you listen to most of Danny Brown's music, he's rapping in like a high-pitched, what he calls a manic voice, and this turns a lot of people off. But the truth is, Danny Brown is painting a picture with his music. Atrocity Exhibition is more of like a mental representation of Danny Brown and something that a lot of people can relate to. And it's a fantastic album, Atrocity Exhibition. If you look at reviews of it, this guy is getting like 10s and 10s and 9 out of 10s and, fantastic reviews by music critics. But that hasn't really transitioned over to the mainstream. Even though he's making music with people like Kendrick Lamar, Freddie Gibbs, and other mainstream artists, he's not really in that discussion as really even like a top 10 rapper in the industry. And I get he hasn't released a lot of music in recent years. And he is getting up there. He's like 40-something years old. I guess he started his career late. But, the guy is a good artist. And he's lyrical at the same time. He's comedical. He's, reinventive. And this is another thing I keep coming back to is he's unique. You're not going to find any musicians that make music like Danny Brown other than people that were probably inspired by Danny Brown. And that's something that I really like about Danny Brown. You know, he's really unique and he's doing his own style, and that's really it. So yeah, these are 5 underrated, overhated, whatever you want to call them, rappers or just musicians in general. I get some of the people aren't really typical rappers, but that's probably why they're included on this list, because you know they're unique and they're not trying to follow trends that other people set out for them. They're trying to be themselves, and that's what's selling them songs and albums.